If you're wondering what the work culture like is in Australia, whether you're planning to move here, just starting your job, or just curious about what work will be like after you graduate from an Australian university, this video is for you. Now, when I first came to Australia, I had no idea about what it is to like to work here. So after I graduated, I got a good sense of that. So I'll be sharing the lessons I learned after my first year working in Australia. Now, if you are an international student like me, one of the pros that you have above other people is that you've come here and made a life for yourself. It really shows determination and ambition of how much you've achieved yourself far away from home, and it's very admirable to employers here when you talk about your story. Last year I thought my story was really unique and employers are very susceptible to that, but I also didn't expect how challenging the visa requirements can be when you're trying to get a job. You could be the perfect candidate, but if you don't have the relevant visa to stay for that job for as long as they require, you will unfortunately not be able to proceed. Employers are very mindful of not taking on too much work that's involved with getting an employee sponsored, I would say, in my experience. And since the visa requirements are always changing, your situation and the paperwork can feel overwhelming. Visa restrictions can limit the amount of jobs you can go for and or how many hours you can work, which obviously local people don't face. They have unlimited work rights. Unlike international students or people coming to work here or study here, it's something that can really impact your work experience. So make sure you're updated on the rules and the types of jobs you can go for. Now, one of the plus when you get a job is that work-life balance is a priority in Australia. Australians really value work-life balance, whether that's your employer or you as an employee. Most workplaces want you to enjoy your weekend. They want you to leave on time at 5 o'clock or before, and if you have too much leave racked up, they encourage you to take that break and not just keep going. It's refreshing, but also a bit of a shock if you're used to where overtime is a norm. Now, I'm not saying every company will be like that, but most companies do value you respecting boundaries of other people and yourself and prioritize your well-being. Most workplaces also offer an employee assistance program, which is where the company pays for your psychology sessions. If you're going through something, I think there are 3 or 4 sessions at a time that you can get for free, and after that, if you're still struggling, you can apply for 4 more. Now, you don't have to do that through your work. There is a company that is responsible for that, and your company just partners with them. So you just have to tell the company offering that you're from this company, and it's very confidential. No one would know what you're talking about or what you're going through. It's just an extra perk for employees to make them feel supported. Now, workplace culture here can also be really casual, which is a bit confusing for people. Australian workplaces are very inclusive, I would say, and very colloquial. So you would be calling your boss by their name, going for lunches like it's no big deal. Whereas I think in other parts of the world that would be not the norm, you know, and you wouldn't dress as casually as well, I would say, than you do in Australia, because it is really hot here. But the casual vibe can sometimes be hard to navigate, and it could make expectations a bit blurry. Even though everyone's polite and casual and wants to know more about you, it's also important to note that it is a workplace and you can't just be talking and acting casually the whole time. Now, because of that casual vibe, networking can be a real perk. Many opportunities can come from people you know, not just what you know. I think it's about 60 to 70% jobs that are never advertised in Australia because they're all internal. You know, someone would know someone and they would just upskill them or hire them because someone at the company gave their reference. It is great if you're an extrovert and love building connections to talk to as many people as possible and let them know about your ambitions and where you want to be. But it can feel a bit unfair if you're not as outgoing or if you've just moved here and you don't know that many people naturally. It took me a while to step out of my comfort zone to attend events where I would meet these people, but gradually I did. You can go watch my video on how to network and make friends in Australia so you can make the most of your time here as well. There's one thing that really shocked me though, is no matter how much I work, the cost of living, especially in major cities, is so high. Like, even though you'd be in a major city like me in Sydney and you'd be earning more than what someone would be in a regional area, your cost of living is kind of on the same bar. Rent, groceries and transport can vary drastically whether you live in a metropolitan city or a regional city, and it adds up fast. So it's important, even though you're in a big city earning a better salary, track your expenses and create a budget. Even with a full-time job here, it can feel like you're just getting by because of the high rent, transport costs, and especially going out. Easily you're spending about $100 when you're going out. Or to be honest, even if you're staying in, groceries are getting really expensive. Trying to save just by staying home is also hard, so it's definitely something to prepare yourself for when you get your first job here. Now, one of the things I loved about the Australian workplace culture was how important diversity is. You'll meet people from all around the world working in the same workplace, which makes for a rich and dynamic work environment with different perspective and ways of working. It's not always perfect, obviously. Sometimes you might feel like an outsider, especially if you're adjusting to a new culture, but it's all about trying to settle in slowly and staying open-minded with meeting new people. I know people that, would struggle to speak English, but they would still be in these workplaces because their work was awesome. So you're not excluded in any way if you're from a different culture or speak a different language. I feel it really matters on the type of work you do. Hybrid working is kind of the norm here, I would say, where some days you work from home and some days you work from the office. Some small businesses are also just starting out remote and continuing with that. It'll only be specific industries that require you to be in the office, like medicine, law, finance. Don't take my word on that. Every company is different, and I have seen hybrid work being more widespread in Australia. Now, those were my teachings from my first year in Australia working, and truly it has taught me a lot, not just about work but about life. There are incredible opportunities here, but everything comes with its challenges, of course. From navigating visa rules to managing the high cost of living, it's been a roller coaster of growth and learning. I would love to hear your experience in the comments or any concerns you have, or you can DM me on Instagram. Don't forget to subscribe and support this video because I'm posting every day on here about the questions you guys have about coming to Australia, working or studying here. So I'll see you next time.